Welcome into another edition of Game Day Gambles over here on the KC Sports Authority podcast. If you're checking us out over here on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. Help us out, get to 1,000 subscribers throughout the football season. That is our goal, and we are definitely on our way. Thank you to all of our listeners out there so far that have been following along with us. Hopefully, you've been making some money over the last few weeks with our editions of Game Day Gambles. Greg's dog has been making some money this week, and he is pumped for this last weekend because it was a huge weekend for us in college football. A lot of great plays. Quick recap on that, depending on which plays you made with us. I went 4-4. Greg went 5-3. The one game we kind of split on was USC Michigan, but most of all of our other plays felt pretty good with, other than KU football once again, the third week in a row, letting us down. Big time, big time. Another fourth quarter collapse, losing that game. And am I ready to get hurt again by the Kansas Jayhawks from a betting perspective? 100%. You know I have a play on them that we'll get into later. But Greg, we're going into college football week 5. It is crazy that we're almost halfway through the regular season of college football. And this might be, as I was going through, I was getting a little giddy about this weekend because this has prime time matchup games all over the slate. It might be the most entertaining weekend of college football all season. What do you think?
I think it's a great slate. I think there's a lot of competitive games here. I think you're right. It's an exciting week for sure. I think it's probably only going to get better as we move deeper into the season because they've expanded the playoffs. So games are going to mean more as we get into the end of October, beginning of November. But for the end of September, I don't think you could ask for a better week.
Absolutely. And like I said, we've got a lot of plays for you, so we're going to try and run through these fairly quickly to get to all of them. And then, of course, we'll have some fun stuff here at the end, some teasers and parlays and whatnot. But I don't have any play on the Thursday night game, Virginia Tech, Miami. Just not enough juice there for me to be that excited about it. But you have a Friday night matchup game, so let's start there.
Yeah, I like Rutgers at home. Washington coming across the country. I think Rutgers has shown they can move the ball on offense and they play pretty good D. So I think they'll be chopping wood out there. And I think you can safely feel good about your play on Rutgers.
Yeah, that's a long distance to travel, edge to the home team. Good with that. Then we get Saturday. Saturday, like I said, this is just an insane slate of college football all day. And to me, it starts off with one of my potential games of the week. I had a very tough time picking one game this week to be super pumped about, but it kicks off SEC style. Kentucky on the road at Ole Miss. Ole Miss currently a 17.5 point favorite at home. Probably next to Tennessee and Texas, the other best team in the country, maybe both sides of the ball, but definitely offensively, they put up points in a hurry, quick. Jackson Dart, Heisman candidate for sure. Ole Miss has definitely looked the part. We mentioned them every single week that you can take a flyer on them and feel pretty good about it. Kentucky, on the other hand, not the best offensive team, but my goodness, can they play defense? They've only given up 24 points in their first 4 games. 17.5 feels like a lot. So I'm very curious to see your takes on this. Personally, I have Kentucky covering to start the day, 11 a.m. I think Ole Miss still wins this game, but I think Kentucky's defense is good enough to keep this ugly for long enough that Ole Miss might have to scratch a few possessions out here to really extend that lead. So I've got Kentucky to start the day covering the 17.5.
Yeah, I think Kentucky's proved it before, right? Against the top team that they can keep it close and limit points. So I saw the line myself and I said, ooh, 17 and a half with that defense. The question comes down to, will they score?
Yeah.
You got to get, I mean, what did they put up against Georgia?
I was just about to
20?
pull that back up.
I mean, you're going to have to get 17 points out of a minimum. Ole Miss they're going to get 28. I mean, they just are. They're that good. I know Kentucky's D is good, but Ole Miss's offense is just that good. So,
yeah, 13-12 was the loss against Georgia, but they did hold Georgia to 13 points.
At home.
Not that Georgia's, the top 5 offense in the country this year, but still 13 points to Georgia is still quite impressive.
It is. It is. This was a pass for me. I know you like Kentucky. If I was betting and you said pick a side, I would probably lean to taking the 17 and a half. Seems like a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of points for a solid defense. And again, I have full confidence Ole Miss is still going to probably run away with this game and win it, but 3.5 or 3 scores there to win. Yes, we know Ole Miss could get up 28-0 in the first quarter, but Mark Stoops has a really solid squad, and I think Kentucky can pull it out. Next one I have on my list, another early Saturday morning slate here in the Big 12. Oklahoma State on the road at K-State. If you were paying attention last week, K-State was my big play of the week for Baylor to upset as a heavy underdog. And not only did BYU upset K-State, I mean, they just thwarted them, stomped all over them. Avery Johnson looked terrible. Tough environment on the road. We know K-State's really good at home. 5.5-point favorite currently against top 25 team Oklahoma State, who's been shaky. Thoughts on this game?
So another one that didn't make my list, but yeah, I agree with your assessment. K-State's going to be pissed after what just happened to them up at BYU. They got slaughtered on after the first 8 minutes of that game, it was all BYU, which we said it was going to be. I mean, that's a tough place to play. It was at night. It's not, I'm not surprised K-State was coming home. I was a little surprised it was a 29-point beatdown, but I wasn't surprised they lost. I think they'll be ready to go at home. Oklahoma State has not looked great. I mean, they're shaky. They, like we talked about last week, they seem to always make a big mistake when they in the fourth quarter that kills them. I am not surprised here if K-State wins this game by 2 scores.
Yeah, K-State's really good at home, so yes, I will take the 5.5 on K-State there. Moving along, another big-time top 25 matchup on the day is Louisville on the road at Notre Dame. We talked at the beginning of the season how Notre Dame basically needs to run the table this year, and obviously, they already dropped their big game, but this is a game that they have to win if they're going to keep their playoff aspirations alive. So I'm going to assume from that perspective, both of us have Notre Dame to cover the 6.5, but maybe outside of that specific play to get them in the playoff. What's your take on this game?
Well, in the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. I am on Louisville. I'm taking the points. Notre Dame has showed me nothing. Louisville has showed me everything. Louisville moves the ball. They can play defense. They're fast. Notre Dame, I mean, what has shown you they can beat a team like Louisville by a score? Me, I haven't seen it. Hey, they win this week by 2 scores. I'll tip my hat and say, all right, learn my lesson. Maybe they're back. But the coaching has been bad. The quarterback play has been atrocious. I think Louisville is going to look at those game films and say, okay, we can come up with a game plan to do exactly what these other teams did. I mean, again, Northern Illinois got paid $1 million to go there and beat them. I'll take my 6.5.
Yeah, it's not good for our parlays for the college football playoff with Notre Dame, of course. But yeah, as far as just individually looking at this game, I like Louisville as well. Notre Dame, kind of like what we talked about. Well, kind of like what I said with Michigan last week and Oklahoma last week. There's just not enough offensively there that really feels confident that they're going to put up enough points consistently to get the job done. Yeah, now they may still win it by a field goal and a half, somewhere in there. But Louisville, I think, has got enough firepower there to keep it close. Okay, my next matchup. Do you have anything in that early afternoon slate? I know we got another SEC matchup that's on the docket here for sure.
We can move on to that.
So let's go next to Arkansas on the road at Texas A&M, number 24 ranked Texas A&M, 4.5-point favorite at home. However, Arkansas has looked way better than I think they should coming into the year. They've had some impressive games. I know they still lost to Oklahoma State, but they really muddied that game up and kept it close. So this is one of my upset picks of the week on the road, as well as obviously if I have them on the upset, then I have them covering the plus 4.5.
I'm with you. I think they keep this game close and have a chance to win it at the end. I like A&M's defense, but I don't like, again, the quarterback play there is shaky at best. They tend to forget how to move the ball for periods of the game. Arkansas's defense showed us they can play and they ball hawk. They can take that ball away. Just ask Oklahoma State for the first part of that game. So I like Arkansas here to keep it close.
Yep, and they went into Auburn last week, who we said needed a big win at home. We had Auburn winning that game. Didn't happen. Arkansas wins by double digits. So, yeah, I feel pretty good with this play. Like, I don't know, SEC play this weekend. There's a lot of road teams that I feel pretty good keeping it close. So, yeah, that's my next play there is the Arkansas plus 4.5 or plus 4, depending on where you get it. And then I also have them as one of my upset picks of the week. Next one I want to go to that may not be a big game as far as the line looks, but just the marquee name is Ohio State at Michigan State. For me, I think this is one of my gotcha trap games of the week. I know Ohio State is a 23.5 point favorite. Michigan State does not score a ton of points. They don't look that good considering that their record is decent and the lines open up that big. But even so, Ohio State still hasn't really quite put all the pieces together offensively with Will Howard in that backfield. They looked really good the last couple of weeks. But Michigan State, who really doesn't have anything to play for being honest, this season, they're way down in the Big Ten. I think this is one of those personal matchups, though, they're going to take seriously enough and find a way to ugly this game up, like I've been saying with some others. So I like Michigan State to cover, and then they are also one of my, that I'll mention here at the end, upset plays of the week at, what did they're, oh, I just had it. They're a big time underdog. But yeah, get your take off while I'm pulling that up. But yeah, I like Michigan State to cover at home against an Ohio State team that should, in all theory, go out and stomp them. But I feel like maybe this is just an NFL thing more so than college football. But teams that should do what we expect them to do aren't quite doing that.
So again, this is a pass for me, but when I look at spreads that are 23.5 and the total's only 48, you don't need much out of Michigan State probably to cover. If they can get, they come out on fire at home, motivated, and they get up 10-3 in quarter one, they can probably cover that number. They really only have to score 17 points. You score 17 points, you're asking 40 out of Ohio State or 42. So if I was betting this game, again, I'd probably take the points in this situation based on that total being so low. That's where I'm at here.
Yeah, that's good. Good point there. They only need one or two scores to really keep it close enough to stay within that plus 23. But yeah, plus 1,400 on the money line. I'm going to have at least one play on that. I just something about, maybe it's just because I'm riding high off my NFL upsets last week, but that one just feels interesting to me. Okay, I still have quite a few games left, but let's go to one of your games you've got listed for the week.
I don't know if this is on your list, but you mentioned them before. After what I saw last week, I don't care if Auburn's playing at home. Oklahoma goes in there and wins. That's it. Period. Done. Lay the 1.5. Lay the 2.5. Lay
Oklahoma needs it too.
Oklahoma needs it. I think they're actually a decent team. Auburn sucks. So done.
All it took was 1 week for you to
done.
Go from confidence to
they
not.
Suck.
Yeah, I'm good with that. What else you got?
I will move on. You might have a play on this one too. I am going to take Baylor, believe it or not, to bounce back. I think these teams obviously had different tales last week. Baylor should have won. I told you, what did I tell you last week? I told you Colorado wouldn't be prepared defensively. They weren't. But the problem was that Baylor forgot how to play defense in the last 3 seconds. And for some reason, lined up only 3 guys on the goal line and were rushing the quarter. I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but obviously he throws a Hail Mary. There's only 2 guys there. Receiver jumps up, catches the ball. We go to overtime. They lose. So I think Baylor is going to be upset coming back at home. And I think BYU, after that huge win, could come out and have a letdown spot. So I'm going to take Baylor at home, laying the 3.
Yeah, I don't have this as one of my official plays just yet, but I really do like it. I think you're spot on there. BYU is really good at home and had a huge win. So now they have to counter that with an on the road matchup against Baylor, who's coming off of a very emotionally frustrating loss. I don't know what it is about college football coaches, but I feel like they overcomplicate things, and maybe that's the reason why they're coaching college and not coaching in the NFL. But coming down the stretch there, that was some terrible prevent defense. So you gave him, not only did they have multiple opportunities to throw it to the end zone, he nailed both throws. If the receiver doesn't let it bounce off his chest, he might still catch that, fall into the end zone, land, who knows. But Shedeur got the throw off back-to-back times. Right after the broadcast talked about how, the last time this happened, Hail Mary wins the game, and then the exact same thing happened. So yeah, that was terrible defensive coaching there at the end. Dion, I think, got lucky. As much as we don't think he's a good coach, I think he got really lucky there that his son made an incredible throw. Both receivers found the right spot, and the defense let him down. But yeah, I like that there. Baylor to bounce back.
Yeah, I like Dion. I think Dion's proving he can put an offensive scheme together or help with that. But it's just for me, his game planning on defense is why I took a shot last week. I just don't think he game plans on defense, and that's why I thought Baylor was going to win last week. We should have cashed a ticket. That right now, I think we can put as one of our worst beats of the year.
Yep, I agree. A couple other games on the schedule. I'll save that one for later. How about Illinois, Penn State? Penn State 18-point favorite at home. Illinois cracks the top 25 now. I don't know if they're a legit top 25 team. I think Penn State is solid. Both sides of the ball. Andy Kotelnicki is getting that offense up and running. They are clicking now. They're getting into a groove. The 18, I don't even know if the 18 is enough in this matchup.
Yeah,
I personally don't want to touch that part of it because it's a big spread, but Penn State looks good.
no chance in hell Penn State loses this game. I'm not playing it with the number. I see you're still bitter about the KU loss.
Yeah.
I think Illinois is a decent team, but I don't think they're going into Happy Valley and getting a win. Yeah, I think it'll be right around the number. I could see 21. I could see 17. So I'm gonna stay away.
Now as I'm talking about it, it's 17.5 on FanDuel. It's a one. I think it'll be an interesting game to watch. I like the under 47.5 because Penn State might not have to score more than 21 with that defense. 21-14, sure. But yeah, just an interesting Big Ten game. Again, another, like, if you look at it on paper, it looks like a massive matchup, two top 25 teams, but to me just screams Penn State is the more dominant team. Last one I have before we get to our big game of the week. Coming off of an incredibly disappointing loss to Kstate 2 weeks ago, Arizona had the bye week. They need a much big win here. Utah, who looked okay against Oklahoma State, got it done, but they're a 10.5-point favorite at home. Arizona might be a little desperate, so maybe this doesn't play well into my pick, but I think Arizona can go in and cover the plus 10.5. Still have Utah winning. That defense is still really good. They're slowing teams down. They're making teams frustrated. But I think Arizona still, even despite the fact they played K-State terribly, they have enough offensive firepower to put up points. They just got to execute. So I still think they can cover the 10.5, but I do think Utah for sure wins this game.
Yeah, I'm going to give you Utah my money line parlay in a minute. So my rules are simple here. If I don't think a team can win a game, I usually won't take the points, and I think Arizona has no chance to win this game. So I'm going to pass on the spread. I'm going to add Utah to a money line parlay that I'll give out at the end.
Yep, and I think that's an interesting point you're making there as far as betting strategy. If you don't think your team has any chance of winning, do you even bother looking at the spread? It's worth a shot. Okay. Still a lot of other games on here that we could probably cover, but I've got really 2 games left. Let's go to our game of the week, though. Georgia on the road at Alabama. Not your Nick Saban Alabama Crimson Tide, but an Alabama team that looks really solid. Kalen DeBoer has done pretty good with his first couple games. Jalen Milroe looks like a Heisman favorite once again. Georgia, on the other hand, has not been the most impressive 1 seed the last couple weeks. Big time matchup on the road. Supposedly the former president's going to be in attendance. A lot of celebrities. Kalen DeBoer wasn't fazed by that at all. Just said, hey, we're going to go out there and play football. Big time matchup. Alabama, 2-point underdog at home. What you feeling?
I am going to take a shot here with Alabama, basically for the reasons you just said. At home, big game. I think they're going to be pumped up, ready to go. Look, you can't win them all, right? I said this about the Chiefs on our NFL one. You can't win every game every year. This is a road game that I think Georgia is not going to win. Look what happened in Kentucky. Kentucky, they didn't play very well on the road. They play like that against Bama, forget the 2. They're going to lose by 3 scores. I like Bama here to win the game. I think Bama's going to get out in front, hold the lead. Georgia might make a push second half, but I think Bama wins, and we're pretty comfortable most of this game.
Yeah, I like it. And even as we're talking here, some sites have them at +2. FanDuel right now, you can get them at +2.5, so even better. Give it that extra half point. I think it's going to be a fun matchup. It's going to be great, but I do think we're going to see Heisman, Jalen Milroe in this. And despite, Georgia's got a good defense, Georgia is always Georgia, but Carson Beck just doesn't do it for me this year. Like I think preseason hype was given to him. So yeah, give me Alabama at home. I like that there too.
Well, I'm gonna throw this out there for everyone.
Yep.
Just keep an eye on the weather. And with the hurricane coming up the coast
That's
here,
true.
I don't know what the field condition would be like. I haven't looked at timelines, if I'm being honest at this point. I don't know when it's going to get through Alabama if it turns that way. So just keep an eye on it because it could turn into a muddy, basically bloodbath in the trenches, just running the ball. So keep an eye on the weather.
Yep. Obviously, I want to talk about KU quickly here. KU TCU. My goodness, if KU isn't desperate for a win, I don't know any other team in the country more desperate for a win this weekend than KU. At home ish, going into Arrowhead, first matchup in Arrowhead, -1.5 point favorite at home, despite the defense falling apart in the fourth quarter, despite the offense still struggling in the most important times. Jeff Grimes calling the worst play calls at the most important moments of the game. I'm gonna do it again. There's no way KU drops 4 in a row. There's just no way. I mean, if they do, then I'm never betting them again the rest of the season. But there's just no way they drop a fourth game at home, -1.5. Heck, I was looking around trying to see if it's worth teasing up even bigger. This has to be a statement game for them. The defense gets right this week. Jalen comes out, plays a clean game. KU wins by 9.5. Is one of my plays. But yeah, there's just no way KU can drop a fourth game. I can't believe it. So I'm gonna keep betting them to cover. Now after this week, I might never do it again if they hurt me again.
All right. Well, let's address that. First of all, I can guarantee you'll be sitting here and you'll see CFB Week 6 best bets, and somehow Keegan's going to spit out why Kansas is going to win. I'm doing it to myself again as well. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm going to probably be sitting there drinking a stiff bourbon going, I can't believe I did it again. But I am going to lay the 2 with Kansas, figuring they can't lose again at home. They can't. I'm going to pray.
The fan base is going to riot if they do. So I don't think the fan base is – I think the fan base – I don't know. There's been so much talk this week of is Arrowhead going to be empty? Is it going to be full? It's not going to be full and it's not going to be empty. But if fans don't show up, then I think KU's in for a real tough environment. But if the fan base comes there, the fan base is going to will this team to a win this weekend if that's what it takes.
For the love of Christ, just get up 35 in the fourth quarter so you literally can't blow it. Thank you. Yep. That's my one request.
Yep. Nice thing is, even though they are 1-3 to start the season, only one game back in the Big 12, with it being only 1 week of Big 12 play, and Big 12's been a little shaky, so Big 12 hopes are still alive.
Hey, look at that. Big picture.
I got KU there.
They have no chance of winning the Big 12. Please get that on record.
I don't think they do either, but that would be impressive. If they somehow came back and did it, I would be impressed.
Try to win 6 games.
All right, let's end with a couple fun things. What do you got for some teasers, parlays?
I got one this week. Here's my money line parlay. It's going to pay you about 2-1, depending on what site you're using. Penn State wins, LSU wins, SMU wins, Boise State wins, and Utah wins. Parlay money lines together.
I like that. I don't have my official parlays yet. I'm still working on a few, but what I did decide to do this week is I picked 4 teams to upset. And the 4 teams that I like, one of them we haven't talked about yet. They are having a pretty decent season for being one of the considered bottom programs in the country. But give me South Alabama on the road at LSU, 21.5 point underdog. Not only do they cover, but at plus 920, they are my major upset pick of the week. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But come on, how much fun would it be to sit here Saturday, 6:45 p.m. Central Time, going, Brian Kelly's going to do it again, a game he should be a massive favorite in, and somehow they stumble their way through. South Alabama's been putting up points. So give me that one. I already mentioned earlier, Michigan State to upset at home over Ohio State. Again, now these are not plays I'm saying I am any sort of confident in, but if you want something fun with a huge payout, Michigan State at home. And then again, also mentioned it, Arkansas on the road at Texas A&M. I think you can get some good payout there. And then another one I already mentioned, Arizona on the road at Utah. So again, not super confident they get the dub in any of those 4 games, but 4 teams that could win you a good chunk of cash if you've got a little bit of play, you can toss their way. That's all I got. Anything else on this slate?
That is it.
Like, as much as I think it's a great betting weekend, I think this is just a fun week of college football. Like, if you have nothing to do Saturday, no commitments, and you can sit on the couch in front of your TV from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., you're going to be entertained every second of the day. There's plenty of great college football to go around. But yeah, that's our week 5 edition of Game Day Gambles here on the KC Sports Authority podcast, week 5 of the college football spreads. Make sure you're giving us a follow over on Twitter at KCSA Pod to find all of our best bets that we throw out there. Make sure you're also liking and subscribing to the podcast here so you can stay tuned for all of our upcoming episodes. Here shortly after you watch this, there will also be NFL Week 4 bets out there for you to go check out, so make sure you do that. And again, if you have any questions or games on the upcoming schedules, things you want to ask us about from a betting perspective, drop them in the comments here below. Send us a DM on Twitter. Send us an email at kcsauthority@gmail.com. But that'll wrap it up for this one. Thank you guys, as always, for checking us out, and happy betting this weekend.